Welcome, everyone. Today's Tuesday, March 11th, 25, and we will call this meeting to order. Start with the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by the invocation. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If you'll give me the honor and pray with me, I would appreciate it. Embracing Father, inspire us to use our positive creative energies to overcome the obstacles of intolerance and indifference. May we learn to love our neighbors more deeply so that we can continue to create a peaceful, caring, and just community. As we pray for our families and our friends, may we help each other in times of loss and sorrow with patience, love, and understanding, just as you love and you help each of us. Father, please provide us the spirit needed to warm our hearts for the journey. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen. Okay, so we'll move on to the adoption of the minutes. First, we've got the regular meetings of March 11th. Is there any changes, Mr. Steese?
None from staff unless council has any.
Anything from council? Is there a motion to approve?
So move.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Is that the only one on here? Okay, now we'll move to presentation, celebrations, and recognition. You see what?
Agenda and minutes.
Oh, I didn't have that on here. All I had was I guess we need to approve the agenda. I didn't see.
No, so you don't have to approve the agenda. There's no changes.
Okay. First, we're going to have Beaufort County School District Character Student of the Month, Ariel Heina. Anyone else want to come up with that? Teachers, parents, siblings? Thank you. Ariel is 12th grader from Bluffton High School, and her character trait is honesty and integrity. So, who would want to, you want to say?
Oh, yeah, I would like to say a couple things. I had a rough start in middle school. I might get grounded for saying this, but I had the worst grades ever. I would basically throw my report cards in the trash because I was disappointed in what I had to offer. The start of freshman year,
You're fine.
The start of freshman year, I started to work my grades up. I started attending honors classes and AP classes, and I proved to myself, my peers, that I am able to do and accomplish many things. Whether it was starting drama club in freshman year, working my way up to be in National Honor Society, and now president of Music Honor Society. I am proud of the person I've become, and I thank you for all the people in my lives that shaped me to be who I am today. So.
Yeah, I'll say I actually had the privilege of having Ariel in middle school and now in her senior year. And Ariel, I'll let you know that in the last 7 years, I completely forgot about middle school. So, short-term memories, forget as quickly as you can, right? Because we can always grow and develop. But in high school, I'll speak to what her teachers wrote in their application for her to be selected for this award, where they spoke about her honesty, her integrity, her ethical leadership, where she goes above and beyond in the classroom, specifically in orchestra and her media tech, where you will see Ariel all over the school, helping to guide younger students in all the courses that she has. She's always carrying herself and conducting herself in such a professional capacity in our school. This young lady's future is bright. And we are grateful that you are at Bluffton High Bobcat. And just keep doing great things. Right? And understand that we all have the ability to grow. But in middle school, it's a challenging time. Because everybody in this room would agree. You were persistent and kept with it and stuck with it. So congratulations.
I wanted to say it's been a gift to teacher. I've taught RL every semester of high school, and it's been such a gift to have you every day, every semester. You're kind, you're giving, you're a leader in and out of class. You donate your time to everything, all the time. You volunteer to help in any and every way. I am terrible at public speaking, hence like I took notes. And she noticed this in our concerts. And so she stepped up and she announces everything at the concerts. And she was like, but she toned it as a way as, I would like to work on my public speaking. Is it okay? And I was like, yes. So thank you.
Actually, the public speaking, that's my husband, because he told her how important that's gonna be in life. But this man has really had a huge part, as well as her district teacher. She, once she proved to me how good of grades she could get, that was it. I was like, you're not allowed to drop back down, girlfriend. You're done. You gotta keep it up. And so she did. And sometimes we had to put boundaries on her because she took on too much. She was doing swimming and competing in swimming and orchestra and all of the other clubs. So, you know, we're trying to teach her a little balance because she has become a workhorse. And she's a beautiful soul inside and out, just like her bigger sister. And this man, keep him in the high school. I'm telling you, he's gonna take these kids far.
Okay, listen. It sounds like, have an extra chair up here. Keep us in mind, we fit right in here, so that's what it takes. Couple little small tokens from the town for special people like you.
Thank you so much.
And we all get together and get a picture?
All right, are you ready? Great, I got it. Yeah, I got it too. Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Congratulations. Proud of you. How are you, Brad? Good. Thank you. Oh, one more.
Thank you so much.
Up next, we have National Child Abuse Prevention and Awareness Month proclamation. There are currently 1.1 million children across our state. And all children deserve to have safe, stable, and nurturing homes. In fiscal year 2024, there were 7,663 children in founded investigations of child maltreatment. Hopeful Horizons conducted 411 forensic interviews, and the Child Abuse Prevention Association provided 14,288 days of care to 108 foster children. So I, Larry Toomer, along with Bluffton Town Council, proclaim April to be Child Abuse Prevention and Awareness Month with Hopeful Horizons, Child Abuse Prevention Association, and other support services programs around the state, while urging all citizens to dedicate themselves to protect the quality of life for every child. Chris Wilbur? Oh.
No.
Okay.
I didn't want to interrupt.
Sorry, I didn't call you up there.
I didn't want to interrupt your introduction.
Well, just thank you for what y'all do, and would y'all like to say anything to us?
Just want to say thank you. I serve on the Hopeful Horizons Board of Directors, and Chris is on CAPA. We'd just like to say thank you for the proclamation and your support. We do a lot of good work, and if you would like to volunteer, please come along. And as you shared some statistics, South Carolina has a lot of problems with child abuse, sexual assault, and domestic violence. So we are here. So if people have not heard of us, CAPA, Hopeful Horizons, we serve 5 counties: Allendale, Jasper, Beaufort, Hampton, and Allendale. So we are here.
Great.
Thank you
Thank
very
you for
much.
what you do.
Thank you. Good little.
Sure. 2 roses and 1 thorn.
Great, you're ready? Got it, thank you. Thank you very much.
Linda Gustafson,
Gustafson.
you want to come up? Joanne? Okay. Okay, this is Teacher Appreciation Week. Teacher Appreciation Week is May 5th through the 9th. Teachers play a critical role in the development of all student populations. Teachers spend countless hours preparing lessons, evaluating students' progresses, calibrating to improve student learning, and serving as volunteers in our communities. We thank all teachers during this Teacher Appreciation Week and encourage all citizens to express their appreciation to teachers. So would you like to say?
Yes, we would like to say something. One of the things that's really important to us is that we acknowledge our teachers in Beaufort County. We have wonderful teachers, both public and private, and this sign will go in front of every public and private school in Beaufort County from May 5th to the 9th. And we just wanted to find a way to let our teachers know that we respect them, that we honor them, and we appreciate them. And so this year, we decided that we would ask for a proclamation, which the other thing that you are such a partner with the school district, and it makes quite a difference to the school district to know that you back them and that you support them. So I'd like to thank you very much for making this possible.
Thank you, everybody. It's not just
Thank
me.
Thank you.
Thank you. You want to get a picture?
Ready? All right, I got it. Thank you.
Okay, and thank you very much. I appreciate it.
So, did you say
There are 3 members from.
Oh, next is the Arbor Day proclamation. Do we have members of the Bluffton Beautification Committee here? I see a couple I might recognize there.
They're not here.
All lovers. Dot, you're up here every month. How are you? Arbor Day was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska. It is now observed throughout the nation and the world. Bluffton Town Council and the Beautification Committee are committed to a Tree is the Key tree management program that promotes a safe, healthy, and attractive urban forest. Mayor Larry Toomer, along with Bluffton Town Council, do hereby proclaim Friday, April 25th as Arbor Day and urge all residents to support efforts to protect our trees and wetlands. So, would you like to say anything? Anybody want to say anything about how important it is?
I just want to thank the town for supporting trees and parks and making our community beautiful.
And wetlands.
And wetlands, yes. Thank you.
Get on there.
Ready? All right, I got it. Thank you.
There you go. Oh, I thought that was on. Can we get Miss Victoria Smiles to come up? How come you aren't out working on this?
It's almost half time.
Okay. This is Fair Housing Month proclamation. April 11th marks the 57th anniversary of the signing of the Title VIII of the 1968 Civil Rights Act. This guarantees fair housing opportunities for all Americans. Bluffton desires that all its citizens be afforded the opportunity to attain a decent, safe, and sound living environment. I, Larry Toomer, Mayor of Bluffton, along with Town Council, do hereby proclaim the month of April to be Fair Housing Month and are committed to fair housing for all residents and prospective residents of the town of Bluffton. So we have Ms. Victoria, would you like to say some
On
words
behalf of
about
the-
what you do and how important your role is?
Okay. I represent the Affordable Housing Committee. I am the Neighborhood Assistance Program Director, and we are doing home repairs, several home repairs, and we're just working hard. Our budget is still up, so if anyone knows anybody that needs home repairs, please have them reach out to me. And we are also working on our project, the May River 1095, which is it's getting its journey on. So thank you on behalf of the Affordable Housing Committee.
Great, well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Need some water.
Up next, we're gonna have Don Ryan Center of Identification Quarterly Update, Mr. David Nellums.
Mayor and council, it is again a pleasure to be in front of you today to give you a quick update. A little background on this. Every year we speak to the Beaufort County Assembly. It's one thing we do. Every year, give them an update. And one of the gentlemen in it this year was a gentleman by the name of Ed Pappas. Some of you know him. And he was involved, even before I got involved, with a gentleman named Larry Hughes and some other, Mayor Salk and different people. And he came up to me after the presentation. He goes, David, I had no idea you guys were going to do all the stuff you do. Because when I first envisioned bringing this, or working to bring something like this to Bluffton, I think you could help a couple of companies. And you guys are doing so much, it just blows me away. So with that in mind, I thought, well, maybe I need to share that and look backwards a little bit. I always kind of look forward, and here's what we're doing next. It's always about innovation and things like that. But I want to spend a little time, maybe 5 or 6 minutes total. 3 minutes. 3 minutes. So I'll keep going. All right. But we'll speed up. We started with one program in 2013, and now we have 7 different programs. From Startup, which was the initial program we have, now we have Growth. We have Trade Up for individuals that have blue-collar skills that want to learn how to turn that into a business. We have the Thrive program for companies beyond growth. We have the new Evolve program for companies that want to use artificial intelligence in their corporations. We have the Heroes program. We have this new program called Speed Build, which lets you go from an idea on a piece of paper to a physical product in a couple of hours to prototype. We've worked with 85 program companies, and we've served more than 300 companies total. On the economic development side, last year we worked for grants for $42.4 million, total 108 jobs with an average salary of $75,000. And we have another one in the pipeline right now that'll be about a $7 million capital investment that will employ 30 people. So that you'll see that probably, hopefully next month. So economic development is going strong as well. Facilities, as you know, we have our main facility, the Hub at Buckwalter Place, 3,000 square feet. And now we're going to be using Building 100, which, by the way, we really need a better name for than Building 100. So if anybody has any ideas, we're open to that. 14,000 square feet, the Bright Beginnings Daycare will be there. We have 6 tenant spaces, many of which we think we already have rented out. Our goal is really to have it rented out completely by the time it opens in October and November. And of course, the Hive, which was the working name for our landing pad. So from 3,000 square feet to 17,000 square feet of facilities. Mentorship, we have 86 mentors. That's the largest number of any mentor network in the region, including Charleston. We have more mentors than anyone, and we use them a lot. Initiatives, I've talked about this before, the AI program we're still doing. I've spoken to more than 1,500 people in the last 14 months about artificial intelligence, and we have become known as one of the go-to organizations for artificial intelligence in the region. Bottom line performance. So, companies that are still in business after we've worked with them, even after 5 years, 73%, the average is 55%. We have 16 current companies. We have 4 more in the diligence phase. That's where we make sure they're okay to get into the program, that we're good for them and they're good for us. The average company is with us 14 months, regardless of if it's startup or growth or thrive. 86 mentors. 83% of the businesses are based in Bluffton. 47% are minority owned. The average revenue for a startup company is $96,000, not bad for a startup. Average number of employees, not surprising too. The growth company, look at the average annual revenue of the growth companies we work with, $2.3 million. And the average number of employees of a growth company, 14. And again, total presentation, the number of people we've spoken with in the last year, 1,500. So one more thing I want to do, and because I always come up here and I talk stats and things like that, but what I want to do now is let you, for 2 minutes, play a little video of one of the companies we work with.
So what's the best way to get that up?
Just 2 minutes and then I'm done. But I think it'll add some flavor to it, to hear it to the end of that. So there you go.
Name's Antonio Mancini Albano. I own a private chef and catering company here in Bluffton called AMA Private Dining. I went to Culinary Institute of America in upstate New York. I worked in fine dining in Manhattan for about 6 or 7 years after that until I couldn't take it anymore. I found out I could start cooking privately. I jumped at the opportunity. When I came here, I was still really unsure about continuing with the business. I've been running it up north. I came across the Don Ryan Center. First getting accepted into the program felt like a big milestone because it told me that they saw enough value in what I was doing to invest their time in me. I decided to work with them because I had a good conversation with Paul and I just trusted that he was the right person. I think he made a comment about they weren't really going to be patting me on the back, but they were going to tell me what I needed to hear and not always what I wanted to hear. And I needed that. I have enough cheerleaders at home. So the biggest problem I was facing was getting started up. And then it was also deciding like how to build what I was doing to market. So I had done various things like private dining, catering, and cooking classes. And I wasn't sure kind of which one of them to begin selling. And so they helped me just create a really, really well thought out and ironed out strategy on how to launch, how to manage finances, having super organized and detailed notes, being able to connect me with mentors. And so I have somebody for every side of the business that I can call, keeping me accountable, knowing that I have to go back in front of them, in front of the Shark Tank every 2 weeks to say, yes, I did do the things. Probably the most helpful piece of it for me. Where I started was somebody who wasn't even sure that I was going to launch the business. I had no customers, no clients. Now I'm at a place where I've just finally moved into my own commercial kitchen, which is a lifelong dream for me. I'm able to charge a lot more for my services now. I know very clearly what the roadmap is. We're growing really quickly. I'm finally able to hire. It's been an awesome journey, and I wouldn't be here without everybody.
So just a little flavor, we have a lot of these videos, and it's always nice to see the face behind some of the numbers. As Antonio said, he's just about to get in his first commercial kitchen. He's going to be hiring more staff, probably some TCL, Culinary Institute graduates, and he's growing with the rest of Bluffton. So just a little sample of what we do. So with that, I'm concluded. Any questions?
Bring in that chicken.
What's that?
Bring in that chicken with you.
No, sir, I did not bring any of that chicken, but I can set you up.
You should have said that.
I know a guy.
You got his number, Fred?
Yeah.
Okay.
Anything else?
Well, thank you, David.
That was good.
Thank you.
Up next, we have the summary presentation of the Town of Bluffton Employee Survey results. Ms. Annie Evans.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm so happy to be presenting this information to you tonight. So I think following David, that's a tough act to follow, but I think I'm going to live up to it here.
I'm trying to get you on full screen.
Okay.
Can you see full screen? Let's get 2 more down. Get 2 more.
There you go.
Thank you.
All right, here we go. All right, so just a little bit of background. As part of our strategic planning for fiscal year 25, the employee engagement survey was identified as a priority for the Human Resources Department. So we had done this survey back in 2022, so we partnered with the same Problowski Research. They're an independent firm who conducted our survey for us, so we could compare our progress. So just a couple of reasons why we would want to conduct an employee engagement survey, just so we can understand employee sentiment, identify potential issues, improve employee retention, make informed decisions, and then track engagement over time. So just as a reminder, a couple of initiatives that resulted from our previous survey that was completed in 2022 were employee development plans, the paid parental leave, PTO donation policy, and the employee home buying assistance program. So our survey methodology, we conducted the survey online through email. It was conducted in English and Spanish. It took approximately 10 minutes for the employees to complete it. It was only sent to Town of Bluffton employees. We held a survey from January 30th through February 26th, and we had a participation rate of 70%, which is 114 employees, which is absolutely outstanding. And just a quick reminder that as I go through, so we're going to start going through the actual results of the survey, is I just want to take a minute to explain the climate that we're in. So with the federal government, the climate of employment is, trending in a negative direction. So as I go through the results of the survey, I just want to keep that in the back of your mind because I think you're going to be blown away by the results that we see here in front of us. So when asked if they're satisfied with their job at the town, the employees, a resounding 94% said that they agree that they are satisfied with their job here at the town. 93% of our employees agree that they are part of something meaningful at the town. So this slide is our first comparison slide. You can see the small chart over on the side there that says last time we did this survey, so in 2022, we had 89% agreed that they are part of something meaningful. That increased to 93%. So you can just keep an eye on the comparison slides when you see them. So here's another comparison slide. 83% of our employees feel valued as an employee, and that's a small increase from the last time. 82% agree they know where the organization is going, how it will get there, and their part in it. So here you can see a pretty big increase. It was only about 65% last time we did the survey, and now it's 82%. So that's a really, really good increase. 85% of our workforce agree the organization has a diverse workforce. So this is the first time that we asked that question, so we don't have a comparison. 86% agree that management cares about them as a person. So you can see that's another increase from where we were in 22. 84% agree they feel supported in growing their career within the town. 89% of our employees agree the town supports the work-life balance of their employees. So another small increase here from the last time. 81% of our employees agree that potential pay increases and promotional opportunities are transparent and communicated. 90% agree that they have the resources to do their job. So here another small increase from 2022. 92% agree they are provided the training needed to fulfill their job responsibilities. So this is almost a 10% increase from a few years back. 85% agree that they receive information in a timely and effective manner. 97% of our employees agree that they have an open line of communication with their supervisor. I'm not sure that we could get much better than 97% of our employees agreeing with that. 93% agree their ideas are valued by their supervisor or manager. So here we see a 10% increase from 3 years back. 91% agree their supervisor is open to receiving feedback. So this question here, it was asked about regarding 4 departments. So the employees were asked, when I make a request, the response is timely and complete. So the light blue bars represent the results that we received in 2025, and then the dark blue bar represents the 2022 results. So you can just look at those comparisons for a quick minute here. So it's saying the first line, public services, is saying like 87% agree in 2025 that their response is timely and complete, and then in 2022, about 83% was timely and complete. So there's a small improvement there. 90% agree that morale in their department is good or positive. So it's 90% of our employees feel that way. Only 73% felt that way in 2022. Given the federal climate that we're in right now, it's a really large increase. So when asked, what do you like most about working at the town of Bluffton? Our employees said that the coworkers and the people. So 38% of the employees, that is the reason that they most like working about the town of Bluffton. While mentioned by a limited number of employees, benefits, PTO, and compensation were noted most as what they are dissatisfied with. So when asked, what do you like least about working at the town of Bluffton, it was the benefits, PTO, and compensation. So here you'll see the orange highlighted. It's very small, but these next set of questions were only asked for police department employees. So I just want you to keep in mind that these are only police department employees that were asked these questions. 89% agree they are provided the training they need to feel safe in their job. That increase is over 30 percentage points. 83% agree that orders from the chief of police and supervisors are sufficiently communicated. Again, almost another 30 percentage point increase here. 63% agree that shifts and teams adequately communicate with each other. So here you can see this went up from 37% to 63%. 91% of police department employees are proud to be part of BPD. So again, that's a 7 percentage point increase from last time. 86% of police department employees trust their coworkers. So another large increase here. Here you want to see the red. So 23% of police department employees have considered changing their careers in the past few months. So here you want to see a little green and a lot of red. So that's trending in the right direction. 17% of police department employees are concerned about recent staffing changes. Again, this is where you'd want to see the red. So a lot of red, very little green. So next steps, what we plan to do with the results of our survey, we want to review these great results with our staff, and we really want to, praise them for all the work that they're doing, and our department heads for keeping the culture here moving in the right direction. And then the Human Resources Department specifically plans to incorporate the results of the survey in our strategic plan. And I just wanted to finish by saying thank you to all of you for your support. We couldn't do what we do on a daily basis without the support from you. So thank you from the HR department. We appreciate it. Do you have any questions?
Questions, Ms. Burton?
Great job. I mean, seeing these results, it's very positive.
Yes, I was very happy
How
to be
often, is it every 3 years that we do this?
That's what so I started in 2022. We did it when I started, and now we did it. So I would like to do it, yeah.
We try to do it every 2 years, but it ended up being like fall of 22 and spring of 25. Every 2 budget cycles.
Yeah, thank you.
Question, thank you.
Yeah,
Good job.
thank you.
Ms. Frazier?
Thank you.
Thank you, Annie, for your presentation. It's always informative to kind of know where we are on the pulse of things. 2 questions I have are, do you feel, just in the consensus of what you took or the results of the survey, do you feel that it is an accurate assessment of employee sentiments, or do you feel that it was more so of like maybe what employees felt they needed to do out of an obligatory sense?
No, I feel like that was a true picture of where we're at. With the 70% participation rate, I really feel that gives us a very good picture of where we're currently at. Yeah.
And my second question is, do we factor into the survey any of the town employees who exit from the town, just to get a gauge of what are some of the things we're hearing from those who choose not to remain working for the town?
So when employees leave, just for those of you that don't know, we do exit surveys. So the HR department does track the exit surveys and the responses that we receive. So we do track that as well, yeah.
Was any of that factored into the survey we have? Because I know we typically don't get any of those communications. I feel it'd be great to know just kind of where we are, as we are always interested in improving and making sure that we do foster the type of environment people want to work in.
Yep, the responses that we receive were factored in. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Annie.
All right, thank you.
Up next, we have public comment. You got my rules up there for me? Should know them by now. During public comment, each speaker is limited to a total of 3 minutes per meeting, regardless of whether, I can't see it over here. You just click me up, block me off. Whether the person is speaking on their own behalf or as an agent for others. Meeting attendees may not donate, transfer, yield, or give all or any portion of their speaking time to another person. All public comments are to be conducted from the podium and directed to the town council as a whole and not to any member thereof. All speakers shall be mindful and respectful of those participating in or present at the meeting. Speakers shall be expected to be civil in their language and shall refrain from comment or behavior that involves disorderly speech or action, name-calling, personal attacks, threats, obscene or indecent remarks, and/or disruptive actions. All speakers shall confine their comments to the issues under the jurisdiction of the town council. Speakers shall not use the public comment period to promote or advertise awards, businesses, service goods, or candidates for public office. Any speaker that violates these rules and protocols for the public comment may be ruled out of order by the presiding officer. Any person whose comments have been ruled out of order shall immediately cease and desist from further improper comments. The refusal of an individual to desist from further improper comments may subject the individual to removal from the meeting and/or citation under Section 2-49 of the Town Code. Up first, we have Jennifer Albero. Did I say that right? Yes. Please state your name and address.
Jen Albero, 18 South Drayton Street in Bluffton, in Palmetto Bluff. I've lived in Palmetto Bluff since 2017, and I became a full-time resident in 2021. And I'm here today to ask for your help. As you know, the Montage Hotel in Palmetto Bluff hosts a lot of outdoor events.
Excuse me one second. Can you all hear her? No, you need to get a little closer to that mic or turn it up a
You can
little
pull
bit.
it towards you. I think it got pushed away a little bit. There you go.
So as you know, Montage, the hotel in Palmetto Bluff, hosts a lot of outdoor events with amplified music. And these events are increasing in size, frequency, and general disturbance in the community. And I just wanted to draw the council's attention to 5 things. One is that these Montage events are not intended for the residents, and they often exceed Bluffton's noise 50 decibel noise limits. They include outdoor entertainment and disturb neighboring residences that are occupied in public spaces, often beyond 10 p.m. Number 2, Palmetto Bluff is governed by non-local developers and investors from Charleston and London, leaving residences with no say about the noise levels. And over 300 residents have signed a petition against these disturbances. Number 3, there's a conflict of interest between the homeowners and the developer. The individuals who control the developer also control the hotel and the homeowners association. For example, the residents' noise complaints, they might send something to the police direct them to the on-site security. The security can't act because they're being directed by the developer themselves, and they're going to continue the event. Another example is Montage pays our homeowners association, the property where the event is, they'll pay a site rental fee, and that rental fee, they'll turn around and charge a customer who wants to throw an event a significantly higher amount. So the developer just takes the difference, and it's land owned by the homeowners association. Number 4, the developer's decisions are made without consideration of direct impact on the community. I sent you an email today with all the event rules that are sent to the residents, and the music goes beyond until 10:30, and construction starts at 7 a.m. and goes to midnight. And number 5, Palmetto Bluff is a public community with a town-owned dock. It's not like other gated communities in Bluffton. It's public, and it's even on the town's website as a local attraction. So the town has received numerous noise complaints, and there's been some confusion about whether Palmetto Bluff is exempt under Section 1285R of the Town Code. Montage is a third-party entity. They operate the hotel, they do it on behalf of the developer, and they're not.
Jennifer, after we finish public comment, I'm going to have the town attorney speak to you and clarify some of this, but I thought we'd listen to everyone first. So thank you for your comments. And up next, we'll have, I don't know who this is, Lisa Salka?
Your timer's loud.
You have 3 minutes, ma'am.
I know, I'm gonna try, I'm gonna speak fast. Lisa Solka, 37 Stock Farm Road. Thank you for what, start the clock. Thank you so much for what y'all do. You have a lot on your shoulders and on your plate every month, and I just thank you. I don't think you hear it enough. This next week is Heritage Week. It's not Easter week, it's Heritage Week. And I just wanted, two things I'm talking about today, but I wanted you to know the benefits that this town gets from the RBC Heritage presented by Boeing. Last year, we donated money, gave money back to our 6 pillars that we put as benefits for our foundation. $685,000 went to arts and culture. Almost $1 million went to our children. And 48,000 went to education. 213,000 went to environmental issues. 1,700,000 plus went to health and welfare. And my passion, scholarships, 191,000 was sent to colleges for scholarships for our children. We have over 100 registered charities, most of which live in our zip codes. The majority of the volunteers come from our 2 zip codes. And the scholarships this year, we gave out 11, 10 are $4,000 a year or $5,000 a year for 4 years. And 5 of those kids came from Bluffton schools. So the benefit, the banners being up, I can't thank you enough for doing that and continuing that tradition, and I hope we keep it going. Okay, now I'm talking about your workshop item. The workshop item tonight, I just wanted to give you my thoughts on it. It really boils down to 7 issues I think you should look at. The capital letters, common sense, no added tree removal, setbacks, landscape requirements. A property should have a primary home on it if they want to do a carport. Do not create a hardship for our many, many residents, that a hardship to have to do something permanent over some type of a carport. And do not please hurt our historic district designation. I do believe we should look in the questions that were asked. I think we should look at legally non-conforming issues in our UDO since 2011. I think that a carport should be classified as a separate building type, but should fit within setbacks. Also, if the lot size allows carport, should it matter if there are 1, 2, or 3 other buildings on that lot? If it is an acceptable building type, is it acceptable? That's the other question, to have other buildings. And it goes back to the second question. Based on lot size and setbacks from the UDO, we shouldn't stop anyone from a garden shed, carport home, and carriage home on the same property. I think the carport should not be taller than the main home. And if on a side by an existing home, there should be landscape requirements to buffer. That's the cool part of Bluffton, is that we're all really very different in what we build and what we live in and what we do. Thank you. I have 2 questions, but I'll email you.
You are out. Thank you, Ms. Lisa. Up next, we have Arlene Flick. Arian? Arian Flick? Arian? I guess we'll set that aside and she comes back. Up next, we have John Meadows? Say that last name for me. Your writing's not as
Mr.
good.
Mayor, congratulations. That's the closest anyone's ever got to it. It's Melthouse. 53 Wildflower Road. I'm going to beat the shot clock. Greetings, Town Council, Town Council, Chief. Good to see you again. Echoing on what Ms. Albero had to say, I would just ask the council to clarify its noise ordinance. People don't know what it means. Smart ordinance, right? Makes all the sense in the world. 10 o'clock, have a great party, have fun. 10 o'clock at night, shut it down. Obviously, some exceptions. Fire alarms, ambulance alarms, aircraft, emergency vehicles, town parade, the Oyster Festival. Got it, makes perfect sense. There's one exception, the last one makes no sense, this so-called POA, carve-out POA waiver. Well, a lot of communities, the POA is the residents. If the people at Berkeley Hall say, let's have a New Year's Eve party till midnight, majority of them want to have it, go for it. Great, no problem, right? Nobody's got a problem. Makes perfect sense. What would not make perfect sense would be for one person to say, hey, I'm in a POA community. I'm going to get my Gibson and play along with Jimi Hendrix Electric Ladyland till 4 in the morning because I can do it because I'm on a POA. That's how this is being applied, at least with respect to Palmetto Bluff. So I would ask you to clarify your ordinance. What your ordinance says on its face is that a POA event on POA land is exempt. It does not say that an outside private event on POA land is exempt. I'm looking at Mr. Finger, and therein lies the problem. Therein lies the confusion. So I would ask you to clarify your ordinance and treat the people of Palmetto Bluff like everybody else in Bluffton, that we get to go to sleep at 10 o'clock and tuck ourselves in. Thank you.
Thank you. And hang around because Mr. Finger will try to explain some of this source. Rochelle Jones?
Hello. I'm Rochelle Jones. I live at 19 Lazy Daisy Drive, Bluffton 29909. And I'm here today about the National Day of Prayer. Back in 1952, Harry S. Truman declared first Thursday in May as the National Day of Prayer. And ever since I came to Bluffton, when I came here, it wasn't happening. So since I've been here, I've been doing the National Day of Prayer, whether it's just me or 500 people. And so I just came here today to say that I would like for the town of Bluffton, so here's what it says. I said, wait a minute, come on. Why my phone not working? Okay, let's all come together as one to honor and glorify God. 2 Chronicles 7:14 says, if my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then I will hear from heaven and I will forgive their sins and I will heal their land. Now is the time for our country. It needs us to put our faith and trust in God. Bring your friends and family to praise God with food, with praise, prayer, food, and fellowship. Bring your own chair, blessings. Hope to see you there. And this country was founded on In God We Trust. And people are trying to take God out of everything. And look at the results. So I just feel like everybody on the council should be there. And I would like the mayor to come and do the proclamation that I have. And it's on May the 1st, Thursday, at 6 p.m., and it's at 6 Venture Drive. It's at the Veterans Memorial Park.
Same place as last year.
Yeah, but it's at the Veterans Memorial Park and on Buckwalter. And I would love to see you all and put it on your social media and put it on the town social media and have us all come together as one to glorify God and praise Him.
Thank you, Rochelle. Okay, before we start on our workshop, Terry, you want an opportunity to
Sure, Mr. Mayor and Council, and those of you who spoke about the Palmetto Bluff noise issue. Back when we passed this ordinance and this group of exceptions back in 2014, there was a lot of discussion about how do we deal with development agreements and property owners associations. And of course, property owners associations can be either controlled by developers or by members. And we have a hodgepodge here in our low country. Some have been transitioned away from developers to member control. Palmetto Bluff is still under developer control. It was council's feeling back in 2014 when we passed this group of exemptions that property owners associations that were subject to a development agreement, like Palmetto Bluff and a number of others, would be better off formulating their own rules, and therefore an exemption, and I believe Ms. Alvaro mentioned a specific exemption, 12-85R of our noise ordinance, in my opinion, exempts Palmetto Bluff. I think that you have given both council and myself reason to perhaps re-examine this exemption. I know that there has been perhaps not the most cozy, or I don't know how to put the relationship between the membership and the developer there. I know there's been some litigation recently. Perhaps it's over, it might still be going. I'm not involved in it. But I assume that the POA has just kind of said, "We're sorry, we can't help you." So I think that what I'd like to do, Mayor and Council, is perhaps make some suggestions about perhaps some refinement on this exemption. Try to speak with some Palmetto Bluff people, perhaps get some thought from you all on whether we need to more carefully draft, maybe not more carefully draft, but maybe more stringently exempt or limit these exemptions that we have in place. And I'd be happy to help council with thoughts. I know that when we did this ordinance, we looked at noise ordinances throughout the whole state and tried to figure out what worked and what didn't work. There's not a lot of places that have as many development agreements as we have here in the Low Country. So we tried to do our best job in 2014. Perhaps it's time for another examination.
Thank you, Mr. Finger, and the way I feel about it is whatever we can do to make peace in the community is our job, and this is a very unique situation where you got the residents unhappy, the POA accepting money for the rental, and then the Montage or South Street, whoever's in charge of it, creating the noise and stuff that's irritating all the residents that live around there. So I don't know legally how we go about that, but that's why we pay you the big bucks, and I'm gonna shift the load to you.
Well, and Mayor, to piggyback on that, one of the reasons that some of the residents reached out, I mentioned now's a good time to speak to council because we are working on our noise ordinance, a couple things that we're reviewing currently and tracking. So with what Terry said, it's an opportunity as we bring any changes back, should council want to make any, we have an opportunity to do that in the future.
I know that doesn't fix anything, but we do care, and we'll, it's one step at a time to find out what we can do to assist, because we want everybody to be happy just as much as you guys want to be happy.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to our workshop agenda items. Number one.
Communications.
Oh, that's right, I skipped y'all, didn't I? I'm sorry. Communications from Mayor and Council. We'll start with Ms. Frazier.
Just on the subject that we're on, whatever direction we do go in as we work on a solution for everyone impacted, I just want to ensure that we include all voices in that conversation and aren't just reactionary with hearing from just some, similar to what we did before with the fuel over water. We actually, if needed, actually had a dialogue with the parties and management there with the residents. I think anything that we're going to be putting in place has to be or needs to be inclusive of everyone's, or at least a general majority and not just a few folks.
And I didn't mention this, but the mayor and I actually had the POA reach out to us, and we have a meeting scheduled with them, I think the 1st of May, I think it is. So yes, ma'am, we'll make sure we get everybody's input on anything.
Mr. Woods, anything?
Just Saturday, Councilman Hamilton and I attended, First Zion did an unveiling of a historical marker for their church, and it was a very big deal. They had a great turnout of their congregation, and please, it's right out there next to their fence on Wharf Street. I encourage you to take it into consideration and go look at it and read it. And also I want to say that if you've never attended that church, you're missing out on something. You're missing out on a great life experience. It's one of the most rewarding things you will ever do. And if you're not stomping your feet and shaking your hand and going, oh my God Almighty, you need to go check it out for yourself. So great organization, great body.
Mr. Hamilton?
I yield all my time to Emily.
He knows I don't talk a lot. I have nothing to say.
Well said, Emily. Well, I'm not going to bore you either. I'll just leave it at that. I was going to say something, but I don't think I will.
Mr. Mayor, can I have the floor for 1 second?
Second.
Ex-Mayor Selka stole my thunder. Usually this April meeting, I talk about heritage. I would like to tell council and the good people gathered here that Mayor Sulka is now the co-chairman of the scholarship committee for the Heritage Classic Foundation, and she has been very instrumental in getting that program to involve not only Beaufort County, but some Jasper County also, and it reaches across the river over to northern Beaufort County. I've been fortunate to be on the Heritage Classic Foundation board for a couple decades now. I was on the scholarship committee quite a long time ago, and Mayor Sulka summed it up very well. The Bluffton football team is one of our biggest contributors because they handle all our refuse during tournament week. So you'll see the Bluffton football players out there every day working hard. And we make a donation, our foundation makes a donation back to their football team. So we could not run, the foundation could not run this tournament without, this year we're having about 1,700 volunteers. And we thank all of you that help us every year. We're praying for good weather. We're gonna have a great field. And Mayor Sulka, thank you for all you've done for our foundation over the last 5 or 6 years. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Finger. The heritage has always been important to Bluffton and the whole area. I can remember when I was in school here in this very building that way back in the days, the gymnasium, a lot of the caddies that came to Sea Pines with, for the heritage would sleep on cots in the gymnasium right here, not this new building, but right here where this building is. And I know that because I used to get to go with the maintenance guy to Fort Stewart and pick up the cots and bring them, haul them back. That was part of my outdoor activities. So anyway, it's come a long ways from there. I think they're probably got better rooms to stay in than they did back then. But
We had an economic survey done last year by...
school was out that week too.
We had an economic survey done by Clemson University last year about what the local economic impact is of that 7 days to our low country economy. And last year was $132 million local impact. There's not many other tournaments on the PGA schedule that can say that. So we're very proud of that.
Great, thank you. Okay, up next we have a workshop agenda item, consideration of direction of proposed amendments to the Town of Bluffton Code of Ordinance, Chapter 23, Unified Development Ordinance, Article 5, Design Standards, Accessory Buildings. Mr. Kevin Eichhardt.
Thank you, Mayor and Council, and my two sons will be out there for the 4 days picking up the trash with the football team. So
Thank you.
if you see people that look like me, that's them. Thank you, Mayor. We are here this evening for a workshop item specifically for accessory structures. I'd like to start out that we have a text amendment being proposed, but we don't have actual text, and that's why we're here this evening to receive some input from you, specifically dealing with accessory structures of carports. And we've had some issues in the past, and actually had a property owner that had submitted the request for this text amendment, who had an issue where he had built a carport, built it without getting some permits, but then had some issues and asked if there's a way that we could look at the code because it wasn't really clear as to what was and was not allowed. So that's why we're here this evening. And then ultimately, the outcome of this, we would then determine what his course of action would be from that. So what we're doing is, since the adoption of the Unified Development Ordinance, we've listed our carports as carriage houses. So anything that's at least 121 square feet is classified as a carriage house, which is what we have this classified as right now, and that is a building type. And I was trying to write as fast as Ms. Sulko was speaking, which is difficult. So I got a lot of the items that she was referring to, and we'll take that as a comment as well, as we're moving forward with this process. Prior to the adoption, typically carports are for covered passage vehicles and small boats, and often are prefabricated. Size-wise, they're smaller. They're not meant to be the same height as the main residence, and typically they are unenclosed. So most of the carports, now we're referring to them as carriage houses, existed prior to the UDO adoption, and they are non-conforming and do not meet the design guidelines or design standards that we have. And as of right now, we don't have any relief for these pre-2011 carports if they are damaged or destroyed. So post UDO adoption. So the carport is, again, it's the building type. We focus on building types because we have a form-based code. So the emphasis is more on the design rather than the use. So as of right now, you're allowed one carriage house per lot unless you're in the riverfront edge district, which is along the river, where you're allowed two carriage houses. The subject property that we're referring to is in the neighborhood general historic district. However, if this is a text amendment, the text amendment is applied throughout the entire historic district. So it would apply to all districts. So the subject, again, had an existing carriage house. So he has a carriage house, a principal structure, and then I'd requested or had constructed the carport on his site. So we have here that this amendment would allow for possible considerations of how we would want to move forward with this. So we've had two workshops so far. We've had a workshop with the Historic Preservation Commission and as well as the Planning Commission. So some of the concerns that came about the Historic Preservation Commission was there's concerns about using those prefabricated carports that don't meet our regulations. The restriction, they had concerns, they wanted to talk about the restrictions of the place, of the size, the materials being used. They wanted to focus on considerations of the columns being used. Typically, you'll have a small, a 2-inch type post column of metal, like a hollow metal, that are used for carports. They had concerns with the pitches of the roof. They also wanted to consider the differentiation between a carriage house and a carport. There was some of the items that they brought up, some unintended consequences, is that if this is allowed from a commercial property standpoint, how would that then affect commercial properties? Does that then give someone more square footage that could potentially be used on their commercial site? And then obviously the overall mass and scale of carports and how, and that gets back to like the height restrictions, do we want to look into making sure that this didn't cause like an overly large carport that would take away from the character of the house and the neighborhood. We then presented this to Planning Commission. I'm sorry, we actually had Planning Commission first, and then we went to Historic Preservation Commission. They had other concerns as well. They wanted to make sure that if they move forward with this, like how we were going to define and clearly state how it would be designed. Concerns, again, was making sure that these were unenclosed structures with the canopies. They wanted to focus on considering the maximum height. It was put out there as a single story. I think some of the concerns with the different sizes of boats is the clearance being met in order to make sure that if you were to put a boat under there, that you could, if you had a center console or if you had a pontoon boat, that from a height standpoint, could it be met in order to actually be usable for them. Consideration of the placement on the lot. They were talking about how, we wouldn't want it to, if your driveway, you're able to look straight down your driveway, is viewing the carport okay, or turning it to the side, or you would have to turn to minimize the visibility of it. Also concerns about the square footage, making sure right now for a carriage house, typically, a stick-built carriage house that you would see, we have a maximum footprint of 800 square feet of the footprint itself with a maximum square footage of 1,200 square feet. So typically what we see are carriage houses that are 600 square foot footprint and then a 600 square foot second story to it. What that does is it gives you a 2-car garage with a little space and then the ability to have like an efficiency apartment above that. Also, some of the concerns was that, are we being overly restrictive in are we, making codes to the point where it's almost impossible for people to have these type of structures. Also was discussion about, how would we limit the number that would be allowed? And again, these were comments from Planning Commission, is that to limit it to one, and then if someone were to then, in the future go back and then enclose this structure, that would then be some type of violation. Again, the concern is you get the skeleton structure of a carport. Over time, walls start to go on it, interior upfits to it, and then, someone could then be using that as extra space on their property without having to actually go through a true building permit. The other item that they came up with was regulations to not allow for power or plumbing to these as well. So those are all the items that Planning Commission and the HPC talked about at their workshops. So if you don't mind, I'd like to just run through these considerations, and then we can come back to them and then have the discussion. So the first one is compliance with the carriage house requirements has been achieved by property owners over the 13 years. Should the existing standards be retained? Should enclosed carports be classified as a separate building type, no longer subject to the carriage house requirements? How many structures are appropriate per lot? If carports are a separate building type, should it remain acceptable to have the carriage house on the same lot? This is in addition to the main structure and up to the 3 garden sheds that are less than 121 square feet. Concerns of how would this affect the tree canopy? Should carports be allowed only in certain zoning districts on lots with a minimum size? Meaning like is it more appropriate on a larger lot or on one of the smaller 50-foot wide lots or 50-foot lots? Are the prefabricated carports acceptable, or should there be minimum design requirements? And if they are allowed, should they be permitted for any property owner or for those that only had existing legal non-conforming prefabs that may need replacement? And then are there any other concerns with town council? I knew I went through that really quickly. I wanted to get all the questions out there ahead of time. Also, Mr. Fisher, who's the individual that had submitted this request, I believe he attended both Planning Commission and the HPC meeting. He is in attendance, so I believe he's happy to answer any questions from the private side of things, and I'm here to start the dialogue.
Okay, we'll start with Ms. Burton.
Okay. I might have a few things to say this time.
She's got something to say now.
I'm thankful that this has come before us. I think that this is an issue that needed to be reviewed regardless of the how we got here and the specific property owner mentioned. I think it's important that we too, I'm big on protecting our unique eclectic character. That's what Bluffton has been for decades. And I don't want to lose that. I don't want everything to look too similar. As noted, I think in the staff report, I read that carports have been a part of Old Town's built environment for decades, and I think it's important that we continue to allow them. So I'll go through some of your questions. I do think that we should allow for carports, and I think it's too restrictive to not allow private property owners to put one on their property to protect their car, boat, golf carts. To me, it is better than having it in the yard with a bunch of tarps over it, trying to protect it from trees and leaves and all of it. I do think carports need its own classification and not to be classified as a carriage house. While they are typically unenclosed, I would like for some sort of wooden slats or, slats with gaps in between to possibly be considered. I do think also, I know talked about power and water. I think power should be considered just for golf carts, electric cars, and I don't know, I mean, a water spigot to clean your car seems kind of smart to me, but again, I just think water and electricity for a carport makes a lot of sense. I also believe that property owners should be allowed to have both a carriage house and a carport. I personally would like us to consider more than one carport if the size of the lot and the setbacks allow for it. I think the majority of properties in the historic district are not going to allow for that many buildings, but I think there are some that are bigger that would allow for it, and I don't think that we need to be so constrictive or restrictive as a government mandating that they not. I do think that we should be mindful and smart with our design guidelines so that what somebody does on one property, does not affect the one next to it detrimentally, whether it be
be through landscape and buffers and things like that. But obviously regarding height, we do need to, I think that's something that we need to look more into to make sure that these carport structures do not overpower the house and the carriage house if they have one. In terms of the size, I think it should at least accommodate 2 cars or a boat and a golf cart if, again, the lot size and the setbacks allow, which I think is going to dictate a lot of what we see there. That might be it for now.
Mr. Hamilton.
I think you and I were reading from the same notes, so I'm not going to waste time and repeat what she said, but everything she says I agree with. And I want to also put emphasis on not being too restrictive. I don't, the planning commission met, did they have comments from the audience? Are any of those comments included in these considerations?
Mr. Fisher was.
You the only one there?
Yes.
I think when we make changes or we make consideration like this, we need to have a better input from the community, because there are times when hearing what they have to say and what we feel, there may be some balance, and we need to make sure that balance is how we make our decision. Because we can, we have an old town, and then we have places where it's not so restricted to preservation, like historical significance. So when we are outside of those kind of significance, we need to be a little bit more user-friendly and not cause hardship on our citizens. So let's slow down and make sure we make the right decisions.
Sorry, if I may add, there was one other public comment at the Historic Preservation Commission, and that was Mr. Wetmore, who is the chair of the Planning Commission. So he was there.
You don't count.
I'll make sure he knows that.
Okay.
Mr.
Wood.
I agree with a lot of it that was said earlier. I do believe it needs its own classification. I do think we have to determine what's allowable mass and scale, and I'm not picking on the client here today, but what was put on that lot it eats up the lot. It doesn't fit with what's there that was built in the Old Town Historic District. That's not a boat shed, it's an RV boat shed. It's just massive. And I think there's a buffer issue there as well. I think we have to keep the buffers. Are these items going to be hurricane rated? That would be a must in the community that we live in, a safety feature of that. There are many types of sheds, just like there are many types of mobile homes or cars or houses. And so I think we have to be careful. It can be a slippery slope if we don't have some kind of standard on what is allowed for a shed or a garage, or excuse me, whatever we're calling it, carport. I don't know that we want to go down to, do you limit it to one vehicle or do you limit it to two? Really what you're talking about is a shed that can accommodate multiple things. It could be golf carts, it could be boats, it could be pontoon boats, it can be RVs, it can be whatever they can get under it. So again, I think we have to look at the scale of what we're trying to approve. Let me say that we spent a lot of money designing the Old Town Master Plan, which needs to be tweaked. The UDO always needs to be tweaked. I don't deny that. And again, I do believe there needs to be a classification for carport. So I'm not opposed to the concept. But again, I don't want to diminish what we've tried to do here that's worked for us for a very long time with infill, to not have a good product at the end of the day, whatever this carport may or may not be.
Thank you, Mr. Wood. Ms. Frazier?
Thank you. Just in echoing much of what's already been said, I too am in agreement with. I think it's also important to remember, we often hear a lot of times discussions on the character of Bluffton and maintaining that and the way of life. And I think in remembering that is also known that we should not be creating burdens where it's unnecessary to residents, especially those who've been here and been in existence and maintain their properties for such a long time. And so creating UDOs that would, cause potentially hardships on them or even restrict, the use of something that becomes another regulatory item. I would just want to be cautious of how we're doing that. I believe that carports should be allowed. I think it should not be classified in the same manner or under the same umbrella as a carriage house. It definitely needs its own designation, and I think we can look at the scale and the size of it to ensure that it is comparable to the lot that it's going to rely on. But I want to make sure that whatever becomes the final decision on how we're going to do that isn't something that, again, becomes another, UDO amendment or policy initiative that we are burdening residents by who are simply looking to be able to house their vehicle or golf cart on their private property, as they should be able to do that without another layer of bureaucracy that may make that an impediment for them.
Mayor, may I ask another question?
Certainly.
So, and I don't know the answers to a lot of these questions. This is the hard part for staff when they try to get feedback from us to understand what we really mean. But so, again, when we mention scale and footprint, let's keep in mind, for example, the bridge. The town got up in arms about the footprint, the scale of the bridge. And so we rewrote the UDO to modify that to where we kept.
What bridge are you talking about?
It's called the Bridge Collective, is where eccentricities used to be.
Talking about Hilton Head Bridge? We don't have no bridges in Bluffton.
So anyway, that became we all know what happened there. It became a movement in the town to control the scale. So, I'm sitting here wondering, because I've heard all the comments, it makes me think of more. But so if you have, for example, and I'm looking for input from council, if you have a large home, I think a larger carport probably would fit more appropriately. But if you have a smaller home, but you want to build a really big carport that might be 2 to 3 times the size of the house, that's where scale can get out of whack. And so I think that has to be considered. And let me be clear, too. I don't think there's a person here that doesn't want to grandfather and exempt the people that have lived here for a very, very long time that have carports. There's no stomach for that I believe. So anyway, that was a question, a thought. I don't know how you resolve that.
Thank you. Okay. I'm going to start off by saying, our historic district, what's historic mean? Because as long as I've been alive and around Bluffton, people have had garages and carports in their yards all over the place. Most of them built out of wood back then, but there were still plenty just like, you can buy today. It's okay, as Ms. Burton mentioned, to pull your boat in the yard and put 5 different colors of tarpaulins over it, tie it down with some string, and that's acceptable. I'd much rather see a carport, that I could put my boat under, a car under, a golf cart under, than, throw together something that definitely doesn't look appealing. It was mentioned, Kevin, a while ago about turning them sideways or something to not have them viewed through the driveway. That's a no-no. That makes no sense. A garage or a carport that you can't get into, like some of them that are made, that are required right here in Bluffton, not far from where I live, it just don't work.
Got it.
So I'd like to make that point. The mention about water and electric not being in there, if you have a boat, you go in the river and you come back, you're gonna pull the garden hose over there and wash your boat down, you're gonna have water anyway. If you need to put your battery maintainer on it or your battery charger on your golf cart, or if you want to see something later in the evening or whatever, when it starts getting dark, you need lights. So I don't see where water and lights saying no to that makes any, sure, you got to get them put in professionally and inspected, but I think that should be allowed. You know, I'm thinking now, you know, about what we do allow on some of the homes that we have right here in Old Town. So the cars and trucks from the people that live in the house are parked right on, basically on the property line. Can't build on the property line, but you can park your pickup truck or your whatever you drive, your boat or whatever, on the property line. So I think there should be some thought on possibly allowing a little difference than the normal setbacks, if it's not going to be a issue. Some people's lots aren't quite big enough to meet all the setbacks or put it straight in front. It's definitely not a carriage house. I don't think it looks like one. I don't think it's in the intent of the UDO to say that a metal boat shed or a carport is a carriage house. So what I suggest, Kevin, and you and your team come up with some ideas after hearing what we've heard, what we've said, and throw some options out there or some more questions and bring it back to us, and let's get it changed so that people can do what they deserve to do and put their boat or motorcycle or golf cart under a roof.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. And if I could, I'll just do just a quick recap of some of the highlights of what I've got from all of you. Is that it seems that you're okay with electricity and plumbing to them. You would like to see some type of screening of some sort. You mentioned the slats or with the gaps in them type deal.
Screening.
Some screening.
Did you say that for aesthetics or to block the vision of what's stored under the garage or under the car?
I think both, to be honest. I mean, I think.
Partially enclosed, but not totally enclosed?
Not totally enclosed, but it's, just the vertical, or I guess you could do horizontal slats with a gap between each one. So it's not enclosed, but it could hide, again, from neighbors and things like that, what's being covered.
Probably like 50%.
Oh, I think it's an option. I definitely don't think it's required, but I think it's an optional if they would
Maybe
like.
that or
If someone wanted to do
plantings
that.
that are vegetative screening, like bushes or plantings, whichever, like an
Definitely
option
not
for this.
required,
That
but-
or
So some type of
Option to do that.
some type of buffering options to that. Okay,
If
with
it's
some.
water, because a lot of times, some of these models that you want to somewhat buffer the leaves and everything going, through wide open. So whether it was fencing or some type of siding, I think would be good. It would make common sense.
Well,
Be able to if you want to.
Mayor, if you don't mind, it seems that we're getting into like more of like decorative or like things on an aesthetic side that may be a preference of some folks. So if the language of it could just include, what the definitive, parameters of a carport is, and then give options in the terms of if you do decide to put in the slats, as Councilwoman Burden mentioned, or you want to have some type of screen protection, these are the, the options to do. But I think it should just be focused on giving us some options, as the mayor mentioned, on what could be allowed.
Got it.
I would add in there color.
We don't regulate color
We don't
or
re- yeah,
anything,
we
so.
don't.
No?
On
No.
any house.
Yeah.
You can have polka dots.
Yes. Pink polka dots and.
I was thinking just kind of natural.
You would
Yeah.
think we would.
Not that I have a favorite color. I don't know.
So some of the other items, if you don't, I'll continue on, is just focus on the size, not so much regulating it like 2 cars versus the actual, we'll focus more on square footage. So we'll look into that, make it user-friendly, focus on the mass and scale. We definitely need its own building type, some type of possible buffering, as we've mentioned. Then the concerns about, from a building code standpoint, are they hurricane rated? So I'll confirm about that, how they're supposed to be. One of the things that Councilman Wood brought up, and I'm writing this down, is a possible table based off of the size of your lot. So if you have a 1 acre lot, you're allowed X, size versus a smaller if you have a 5,000 square foot lot. So we'll look into that to see if we can kind of create some type of matrix that will show, to objectively show that you're allowed this size based off of your lot size.
And on that, Kevin, let's
yeah.
not forget too, that the smaller your house, the bigger carport you need. Real life.
Right.
If you don't have a big house and lots of storage and all like that, you have things that you need to put in your carport.
For storage.
Just like an attic or just like a garage that never gets cars. I mean,
Got it.
that's, so we don't want to be too restrictive on the size of the house.
Yes, let's see, let's not create burdens, and then we talked about the language for options of architectural sidings, that if you do this, then you can do, here's ways that you can go through it. Don't like the sideways version of it. And then, let's see, we did, like the water and electricity, we're good with that. And then, Mayor Toomer, you'd mentioned that look at from the setback standpoint about the possibility of having it closer to the property line. I'm going to get more information on that, specifically dealing with building code, because as you get closer to property lines, there's different regulations that have to be met. So let me look more into that portion of it.
If my memory serves me, that if it's not enclosed, there are different setbacks.
I will.
You could build a deck all the way to your property line.
I'll definitely look into that to make sure to
Enclosed.
get some more
It's not a
information.
living space.
Let me say, so are you saying you would go into the buffer?
I'm not,
It's not a buffer, it's a property line.
Well, the property line
There is
has a
no
buffer.
No, you don't have buffers on residential.
No, you just have setbacks.
Okay, setback is the term.
But if it's not if it's not a structure that's enclosed, right now you're right there. I know a little bit about what I'm talking about.
Yes, and deck or patio, different requirements for setback versus if you have a roof on it, so we'll just confirm the roof.
We'll confirm with the building official on that, so.
And that's just something to look at. And
Yes.
It may not be a good idea.
Yeah, I don't know, that's why I'm asking, I don't know.
Okay, I believe that we have our marching orders, and we'll start moving forward with this.
Thank you, Kevin.
Good luck.
All right, thank you.
Okay, moving on to formal agenda item. Approval to authorize a construction contract with Jordan Construction of Hilton Head, Inc. for phases 4, 5, and 6 of the Historic District Sewer Extension Project. Physical impact, $863,784.90. And I am so glad to see this come to council. Mr. Rooney.
Well, I'm glad you're happy. Okay, good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm here tonight to present a construction contract for your review and consideration for Phase 4, 5, and 6 of the Historic District Sewer Extension Project.
Yes.
Okay. The work is located in 3 streets within the Historic District. Phase 4 is Lawrence Street between Boundary and the Cove. Phase 5 is Green Street between Boundary and the Cove. And then Phase 6 is on both ends of Water Street. As far as background, this is the final phases of the Historic District Sewer Extension Project. This originated in the 2019-2020 strategic plan in support of the May River Watershed Action Plan. Obviously, the goal here is to eliminate septic tanks in close proximity to the watershed for the May River. The project scope is very simple. Install sewer main lines, septic tank demolition, and household connection to sewer lines. Most of this work will be occurring within these street right-of-ways I described earlier, with the exception of the connections that have to be made in Boundary Street and Calhoun Street for the connections from these new trunk lines to the main sewer lines in those roads. So there will be some detours and traffic destructions when that is going on, but I don't anticipate that to be a long duration. So the next steps for us is go ahead and initiate a contract for signatures with Jordan Construction. Initiate pre-construction meeting with the contractor and Beaufort Jasper Water Sewer Authority. Notify the property owners of pending construction and offer a kind of contact information for people to call the project managers if they have any questions while construction is going on. We anticipate to start the project in mid-May after Mayfest, and we expect the construction to be complete in early 2026. This project was bid in March of this year. There was 2 contractors that submitted bid. Jordan Construction was determined to be the lowest, most qualified bidder. The staff is going to request an additional 10% contingency allowance to cover on any kind of unforeseen construction changes during construction. And so the total fiscal impact between the contract and the contingency is $863,784.90. That's all I've got. Do you have any questions?
Questions, Mr. Frazier?
I have a motion in the package.
Mr. Wood, any questions?
I just want to compliment you. The rest of the staff should see how quickly you went through that. Wonderful.
Ooh, shade on Kevin.
Okay, with no questions, is there a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion. I move to approve authorizing the town manager to enter into a contract with Jordan Construction of Hilton Head, Inc. for phases 4, 5, and 6 of Historic District Sewer Extension Project fiscal impact of $863,784.90, which includes a 10% contingency.
Any discussion? Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
That's unanimous. Thank you, Pat.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move on to the consent agenda. Council, is there anything you want to remove or discuss? If not, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Now we move on to number 5, consideration of a planning commission recommendations for fiscal year 22 capital improvement programs project.
That's part of the
What is that?
consent
No,
agenda.
that's consent.
Oh, my paper's got
Yeah, executive.
doubled up. So it's time now for us to move into executive session. I'm trying to find the actions. Where is it? Oh, yeah. Number 1 is personnel matters regarding town council appointments to boards, committees, and commissions pursuant to Freedom of Information Act 30-4-70. Number 2, legal advice relating to potential legislation pursuant to South Carolina Freedom of Information Act 30-4-70. Is there a motion to move into executive session?
So moved.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
We are in executive session. We will be down.
Out of executive session, no votes are taken, no action, whatever I was supposed to say here. Forgot.
Mayor,
Nobody listening?
there were action items.
Yes, you need to vote.
We're gonna ask for a motion to,
Could you give them that?
Yeah, I have it right. I have it. I was just telling the mayor that there was action.
yeah, well, we're taking action out.
No action were taken in executive session, but you do have action.
Now we have action.
Yes, sir.
But we did not take action. That's correct. Somebody got this written down, the names and all that?
Ms. Frazier, Councilman Frazier.
All right, so in regards to our commission appointments, I move that we appoint Hugh Williamson to the Beautification Committee with the term expiring June 30th, 2026. I move that we appoint Veronica Navarro to the Realtor position on the Affordable Housing Committee with the term expiring June 30th, 2027. And I move to the appointment of Will Howard to the Town Resident position on the Planning Commission with a term expiring June 30th, 2028.
Is there a second? Second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Did you vote? Yes, I did, sir. That was unanimous.
I want to go home.
Make a motion.
Make a motion to adjourn.
All right.